So what do you guys think of copper or PEX? Because copper is, it's like, it's a metal, of course, you know. We all didn't have the copper we know and love. But it's also a metal that corrodes, that corrodes. And you also have PEX piping, which is it's like a type of plastic basically. That's like what it looks. I mean, it is like you feel it. You're like, oh, this is plastic. For for what it's worth. For the benefits of the drawbacks of either, because you know both PEX. It's not new. It's been out there for a few decades. Uh, you know, copper. Everyone knows copper. Everyone knows, like, everyone knows how, copper is going to affect things, and how, uh, you know, hey, we all need a certain amount of copper in our diets after all, so, yeah, take that, for what it's worth. But, you know, PEX, it's definitely practical in a lot of senses. It's definitely practical. Um, it's kind of almost like how they say with a wood-built home versus, a steel-built structure. It's a wood is obviously, wood-built. God, you go back to the Pilgrims, and man, like, you go back to, I mean, I'm thinking of this from like a too much an American perspective. You go back, like, the oldest wood, it's from, Japan, uh, in a structure, and it is from, I think, the year like 600, not 1600, 600. It dates back to back then, and it just goes to show, if there's good maintenance, then then it's it's you can have something last for a very long time. You can. So for people that say that, like copper, like, it's gonna rust, nonsense, like, it's what the factory produced, um, and whatever pressed into piping and all that, with the modern day, like, they're both gonna be very similar. They're both gonna be very similar. Like, plastic has its, or PEX, whatever, it has its issues too, you know. And then at the end of the day, you almost feel bad for, like, a homeowner or something like that, because, I mean, because whatever perspective that they, like, kind of fit into, it's not necessarily wrong. It's, or for having one or the other. It's, just any person that's buying a home or gonna rent a home or anything like that, like, they want what's best. They want what's best, and, sometimes, uh, you know, sometimes it means, hey, like, they want, copper, like, they want copper piping for, drinking water to not have plastic in it, and that's, like, low key. I'm like, yeah, that's the personal one that I think about personally. Like, I live like a, kind of like, I'm like, I live in older buildings, so they have kind of copper. Um, I I know the one that was in had copper. I know the one that I was it. Yes, it did. It did. I remember. Yes, it did. I remember I saw, behind the wall. Uh, at one point, yes. So, yeah, I've lived in older buildings that have had copper. And I mean, you know what? Microplastics are going to get us one way or another. So if you got copper and you're laughing at people with the PEX piping, it's like, listen, buddy, anything that you eat that come in plastic, even a lot of stuff that you drink, well, no, drinking, you can avoid it, but you get it down the food chain. That's what happens. The one benefit of PEX, it's an upfront cost. It's cheaper, easier to install, so it's cheaper on labor. It's a little bit more like if it's like just a crew just starting out in this day and age, like, yeah, you don't have to bust out the solder or anything like that. You can just kind of like bends around corners, and there's less fittings and there's less soldering. Basically, you don't have to bust out this. It's not intimidating. It's just like it's just a little skill. It's just a little skill. Same thing with the pegs. It's a little skill. If you have a little skill, then you'll be good. You'll be good. If you have a little, like, yeah, like, it's just whatever you want to develop. It's just whatever you want to develop, like if you want to develop, like, and then if you're like a plumbing business or whatever and you want to develop, and I think, like, yeah, most like they cut. I think they all kind of just do, like, I wasn't in plumbing, but like as far as like they all kind of just do both. I'm sure like they each have their preferences, but I think at this time they do both. So like, if you have a plumber and you're like, just, I mean, you can always ask them, but that you can always ask people anything for the most part, I think. But yeah, I mean, a lot of contractors, they say like, oh, PEX, it's like running extension cords. It's fast, it's flexible, but it doesn't feel like it's permanent. So like, even though you can like throw it out there, it doesn't. And like they say this, and I've held, like, yeah, like I've like held PEX piping, and I've been like, okay, yeah, this is like, it's a lot. It's very, very thick plastic. It's very, very thick. It's very thick. It's and it, I mean, just because of the, like, yeah, I get that it's plastic, but it's very, very, like, it's not like an inch thick, but like, man, it's like maybe even half an inch is like that. That still feels like a lot, but it's like it's like it's not like even close to a water bottle. I know that's what comes to mind with like, oh, plastic or something, or plastic, that water. It's not even like, that's not to say that microplastics aren't, coming off of it. That's all I'm saying. This is just about like its longevity, like this is just about, and it feels very thick. So that, from a personal observation, it feels and it looks pretty fucking reliable to me. I don't know what these other contractors they do say this, they do say this. I mean, that's why, like, from what I know, people, they just tend to go with copper because it's like they just don't want to, and I don't blame them. Like, it's, maybe it's like slightly more upfront, but it's like, it's pretty much, it's pretty much this, it's pretty much like the same shit from what I know. Pretty much. Yeah, like, I mean, copper. Yeah, people say they're like, yeah, you have to, with soldering, and you have to, there's just skills to solder, and yes, there is, yes, there is, and there's also skill to bend hex piping. It's just, they're both, yeah, they're both just like, listen, like Futurama made a robot called, they named the robot Bender. And its whole personality is about bending things. And let me tell you something, that shit is real. Some people, they do make it their personality based on bending things, not necessarily pecs piping, but some people about rebar, not really bending, but like, yeah, bending like, bending like as in, like, you know, wrapping around a corner is that's kind of what it looks like. You kind of wrap it around, making the best I'll say is like making it a rounded corner. That's like what it looks like of how they make it to me. It looks like kind of like making it like a rounded corner, but bend. All right, to hell with it. I'm gonna say bending it into a rounded corner. That's it for rebar. So it looks to me. But there's also like a lot of plumbers, and of course, like they take whatever they take pride in, because like it is like it's like, hey, check out this solder, like for just having like the pride in it and stuff like that. Like it's, I get it, I do, and yeah, like I mean, it looks fun. It looks fun. It looks fun soldering. It looks fun like using metal and heat to put that metal onto other metal to like create a seal, because like I'm all about waterproofing, and that's waterproof, like that's your waterproof, like, yeah, people solder gutters, like that's like it's just, it's better than like what I would do, which is I would go up there with a tube of, silicone caulking, and I would use that between pieces of metal, and and it would low-key work for a decent amount if it's like new metal on metal. Man, it's gotta be like, it's gotta be like 10 years. That's just like by personal observation. People tell me if it's fake news, but to me, it seems like a 10-year seal to me. Putting silicone between those people. I'm ready for the hate. I'm ready for the hate. I know people are gonna bring it. Whatever. Let them bring it. That's fine. That's fine. Let them bring the hate with that. Just let's move on. Let's just whatever. Let's move on. Let's just move on. Let's move on. Speaking about how long things last. Copper. It can last 50 years. But it really just depends on the water, like how the water is, like it can last 50 years, but if the water is a little bit more acidic, or if it has like high chlorine, I think it's chlorine or something like chlorine, but anyways, yeah, like if it has just a different whatever chemicals in it, and like your different whatever, sometimes different government bodies, they release like water reports, so they tell you, I guess, like what they put and what yeah, the natural stuff that is just in the water and stuff like that, and uh, as copper ages, it's gonna have it's gonna just start to develop little leaks, and they're really, they're really small leaks, and they're like pinhole size leaks, and it's not really like enough water that like you would notice right off the bat, like there's gonna like the drywall is gonna like it the drywall is gonna keep things dry. Like, that's like that. I mean, like, yeah, it is, granted, yeah, it is like paperboard kind of with some like silica type rocks, silicaceous, is that a word? Silicaceous type rocks, in it, and that's like drywall isn't, and it absorbs water. It absorbs water. It's gonna absorb water for a goddamn long fucking time. It will. It will. And um, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing because, like, in this case, um, in this particular case, it's a little bit more of a bad thing because it's a little bit more of a bad thing because then the water is going to it's gonna just build up. It's gonna build up in little spots, and it's gonna like, because it's like a tiny pinhole. It's gonna like, I don't know. It's gonna be like a little. It's gonna be wide. It's gonna be a very small leak, but like water, you give it time, and even if it's a small amount, it'll be widespread before noticeable. I think that's the best way to put it. It'll be widespread before it's noticeable. And I'll stick with that. I think that's just the best way to put it. So yeah, going to PEX piping, it's gonna be resistant, to stuff like scale buildup and chlorine uh and stuff like that, other chemicals that would cause it to corrode. But UV light, yeah, if it's exposed, which, again, like personal observation, like looking at them, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Like UV light. Yeah, UV light. Yeah, like it's a very hard plastic, so it's like it seems like it would be pretty brittle. That's like what I would get, but it's like it's piping for water, and it's like it's between like the walls and stuff. But you know what? Like from what I heard, sometimes like they can be exposed to the environments for a period of time. So if that's like the case, then buddy, that no good. That no good. No good. But yeah, what? In its early days, there was some bad press about rats chewing on it, and um you know like a lot of, how it is with any stories comes out. It's gonna always weed out some of the normies for better or for worse. Whether they're right and they're or wrong, and in this instance, they're kind of both. So maybe in this instance, it's not bad to be a normie. Uh, yeah, you know, obviously with copper, the there's the idea of whatever, like the risk of the risk of it getting stolen, and yeah, that's one that I hear about a lot. That's one that I hear about a lot. Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, like I think everybody hears about that a lot, though. It's like, hell, they'll leaving the copper out, or how much copper did that person steal or whatever. So like I've heard about it with copper. With that, uh, and especially like, man, it reminds me, like, there's this one building in Los Angeles where, like, the developers, it's like, for whatever reason, like the construction gets stalled for financial reasons or whatever. And then I think this project at this point, it has to be completely abandoned. But it was like a high-rise building, and it was completely graffiti. I thought it was actually kind of beautiful in a weird way. But like that whole high-rise building, like man, had to be gutted. Everyone's got something that comes to my mind. What comes to my mind is just this high-rise building being like, I mean, it was probably gutted pretty quickly, and then like yeah, people set up shop there, and then until like I guess, I mean yeah, I'll have to look it up again, but people, eventually like the city came and they were like, all right, enough of this, because I guess eventually yeah, it becomes like a safety hazard with all of that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. If someone has the PEX piping, no one's really going to be looking to like steal that. You know, no one's really going to be looking to steal. And but that's the thing. Like because no one's looking to steal it, it looks cheaper. So like it's a double-edged sword with that one. It is. It is. Yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, I see PEX a lot in remodels. I mean, I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly know. Like, I know some people might say for speed, but people. I mean, that's like what I would think. But again, like people can be like can get fast in either. So it's really, I don't know. It's really just not like it's really not like a huge deal in that sense. Um, yeah, like, I mean, but yeah, like, in terms of like, if anything, if there's any piping that needs to be like exposed, um, yeah, like exposed PEX piping is just like a bad idea for like, it's gonna look bad, and it's probably just gonna functionally be pretty shitty as well. Like, it's, like it'll crack, and that's pretty much like most of what I know about, PEX, PEX piping and stuff is just the cost and all that, and just how copper looks. But I guess at the end of the day, like yeah, it's just one of those things where it just comes down to opinion. Like most, I guess like like most things just comes down to opinion, and this is one of them. And I guess my opinion is like, I think my opinion, like personally, just for like water, at least if it's like drinking water, I almost want to say copper, because like yeah, that's just like, because like yeah, otherwise it's like they are pretty probably like durability and like okay, how it looks, whatever. Who gives a shit? The walls, it's gonna have the drywall over air, and it's gonna be in the basement, or it's gonna be under concrete. So like, does it really like, ooh, check it out, like look at the how the house looks, before the wall. Yeah, like if you're, but yeah, like just when people talk about how it looks, it's like okay, yes, it's gonna look really cool, like in the building photos, and yes, like I am I am gonna, compliment those types of things. So I will be, a little hypocrite in that sort of regard. But yeah, it's you know, it's people got their own philosophy, and they got their own image, and they got just what they trust from being in the field for however long they've been in the field. So, with that, I'll leave that as my PEX versus copper ASMR. Hope you enjoy.